Dirt roads to rock crawling, two-buck chuck to screaming eagle, moonshine to 50-year-old single malt. We talk about it all here on Wheelin' Wine and Whiskey with your hosts, Jason and Chris.
Welcome to the Wheeling Wine and Whiskey Podcast, episode 324 in the Ruby Track Studio. Hello, Chris.
Hey, Jason. How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing? I'm
doing great. Just chilling out, relaxing after a 3-day weekend. Got back from Hollister. I know we're time traveling and so forth, but yeah, I'm good. It's
right on.
And finally getting a little bit of time off. The weather is supposed to cool off, and yeah, hopefully I can start to relax a little bit. Fall is in the
air.
Fall is in the air. As we've said before, pumpkin spice lattes. I'm still seeing Oktoberfest on the shelves. And, Oktoberfest beer, that is. Beer.
Yeah, your Oktoberfest Samuel Adams beer.
Yes, sir. And, of course, everybody makes an Oktoberfest beer now, but I still think Sam Adams is one of the best, if not the best. So,
well, there you go. Yeah, that is a good one. Well.
Deep subject.
We do, for a shallow mind. We've got a guest here. Been on the podcast quite a few times.
Yes, sir.
Finally circling back after Vegas to Reno, the big Vegas to Reno race. Justin Hall, man. Justin Hall, how you doing?
Doing good, guys. Yourself? How you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeehaw, we're good.
So been a hot minute.
It has. I got to see you at Vegas to Reno in the lineup for Tech.
Yes, you did. You guys see the car right off the get-go when it was brand spanking new.
Brand spanking new. Still had the new car leather interior smell.
Yep.
It was great. Does it still smell like that now?
Absolutely not. We knocked the new off of it pretty damn quick.
So last time we spoke with you, I think was way back after Prairie City and the last car kind of wadded up into the corner.
Yeah.
And ended up in some metal recycling yard or something at that point.
Yeah, I think that was the last time we spoke about that. Yeah, it was when I shortly after wrecked my old car.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got like $75 or something like that for
the tubing.
Yeah, yeah, for the chassis.
So you've done a few things since then.
Quite a few things.
People that know you know there's no moss under you. You don't sit around and eat bonbons on the couch very much. So what have you been up to, man? You started a new project and took it across the line at Vegas to Reno. So let's get up to speed here.
Yeah, shoot. I think last when we spoke, I was trying to get the car ready for King of the Hammers actually, and failed at that miserably. Not miserably, like we got it to a really solid point of pretty much ready for wiring, and I didn't want to rush anything, and so I decided to pause on the car, and then Dave Schneider called me and said he had his Trent Fab car that he wanted me to drive, so I went and picked that up from Elvis over in at Baja Dynamics in Carson. Picked that car up and went straight to King of the Hammers with it, and then did King of the Hammers. We had a bunch of transmission issues with that car. It wasn't a prep issue, just a freak thing that happened. It lost reversed once on the chassis dyno, and then we got that. We pulled the transmission on the lake bed. Chris over at Maximum took it, and then we got it back. What was that? It would have been Monday night. Yeah, we pulled it out Saturday. Chris took it Sunday, had it back to us Monday night. And then we put it back in. I drove the car for like 7 miles and then said, all right, cool, this is good to go. Tuesday came, was qualifying, and I haven't ran the qualifying course, didn't even, I just watched on the live feed, essentially, and never put tire tracks on it or nothing. And at the time, Cameron Steele was first, and we came in I think it was a second under him, and it was Cameron Steele and myself were first and second, and then we held that all the way up until Power Hour, and then I think we ended up, seventh at the end of qualifying, which is pretty rad for a car that I only drove for 13 miles or something like that total, and so then I went into just prepping the car and had a pretty flawless first lap. second lap, get over to just right outside pit 2, and went to use reverse for the first time, and there's no reverse in the car.
How does that
So
happen?
there was something to do with the reverse gear band, and there's like a little pin in there or something that it wasn't grabbing, or like the pin height wasn't the correct height. I don't know. It's something that was missed or overlooked or something failed. I don't actually know the witchcraft that happened behind it. So yeah,
Jesus.
we were stuck on a rock trail, and Chris Ray, my co-driver. So quick backstory, as you know, I've never had a co-driver. So I called Chris, and he said, "Yeah, I'll jump in with you." And so him and we drove the car for the first time for qualifying together. It's the first time I really ran with the co-driver.
Yeah,
So
you were always
that's
single
been
seater.
exactly, that's been a whole learning experience, which has been super good because Chris has been the only guy that I've had ride with me. So I'm learning the way he wants things, or how he calls out like calls and course markings and whatnot. So that's been super fortunate having the same person over and over again now with after Vegas Trino. Um, but yeah, so like I said, we got stuck because we had no reverse. We had a line of cars behind us after we were trying to winch ourselves out. So then we stopped doing that and started helping these other guys winch around us. And we did that for probably 2 hours, and then we finally got the car out and then drove it back to the trailer. Back to
Jeez.
Hammertown. That was the end of our King of the
Yeah.
Hammers adventure. Yeah, and then get home. Uh, had to start working on the Trent Fab car and get that thing back up to speed so I could give it back to Dave Schneider to try to sell the car. So yarded a transmission out of that, did a bunch of work to it, re-prepped the car, and I think I got the car back to him. When was it? That Hammers February, I think April-ish.
Okay.
April or May. And then in between then, I was like finishing up the wiring on my car, addressing some other issues that we rushed to try to get through, and I redid things so I made sure my car was perfect. And then my car, we go to fire it for the first time, we get it fired up, and then it has no forward or reverse in it or any gears
Jeez.
You're cursed,
whatsoever.
man. You're cursed.
What is it up with those juice boxes?
Just in the transmission destroyer.
So what was funny? This thing just didn't have a pickup filter in it. The filter never got installed, like in the transmission build, and
That's a
that's
major
just something that
oversight.
got missed. And so when we pulled the transmission out of the car, because I figured it was a valve body issue, we pulled the transmission out, had my guy go through it, and I just bought one of those billet valve bodies from Chris over at Maximum, and threw that while I was in it, threw that in the car, and so I know for a fact I'll never have an issue with the valve body again. And yeah, we got the car done, started dyno testing it and dyno tuning it, and then decided to go to at that time I think it was June-ish. Yeah, June, July. And then no, it would have been June, like the tail end of June, because I think I started testing the car down in Barstow in
That's
July.
right.
So did the first test session on it in Barstow, and we were we were having tons of issues. Not like a ton of issues, but we were just having like issues that like we shouldn't have had happen, and we couldn't figure out what it was. So did one test session. Like we spent all day down there trying to do different things on it, messing with the shocks, and then come back, did drastic changes to the car, completely changed the shock setup on it too, different spring rates. Went back out again, and the same issue came up. And we're like, what the hell's going on with this? So we bring it back, and the issues we were having was it was overheating and hanging the temperature and not cooling itself back down. And come to find out, my engine tuner JP, like from Total Race Solutions, he figured this out. For some reason, the ECU master computer, when you start with a base configuration file, somewhere hidden under multiple drop-down menus, there's a actual physical speed limiter built into the system. And the speed
Okay.
limiter was set at 25 mile an hour based on GPS speed. So when we're dyno testing the car on the chassis dyno, you don't notice it. Like it doesn't try to pull timing out of it to quote unquote
Sure.
like speed limit you down, and we couldn't replicate it on the chassis dyno, and we could only replicate it when we were out driving. So he finally figured that out, and we started going back looking at data logs and like all the sensors that we have on the car, and he's pulling through the data logs and looking at everything. He goes, "Why is it pulling timing out here?" And then it starts pulling more and more over the faster you go. And like we figured it was pulling about 20-ish degrees of timing out of the
Holy
car.
crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was just things were pissed but pulling that much timing out of it, and like the gearing in the car, like it would push past the speed limiter, so it wasn't like a hard speed limiter. Like I said, it was just pulling timing out of the car. So we were still doing 75, 80 mile an hour, trying to figure out why this is happening. And one day at my shop, he comes over, he goes, "I got it figured out." He comes over and we go take the car for a rip up and down the street. And then he goes, "Okay, now watch this." He clicked one button on his computer and he goes, "Now do it again." And it was like night and day difference.
Night and day.
Because you could literally feel it when you like get into it. As soon as you go from like second, you click into third. And as soon as you click third, you can feel it just like start cutting and losing power. It was like you just hit a wall, and then the gearing and horsepower that was still there was pushing past it. But yeah, it was 9 day difference. And we're like, okay, cool. Now we got a hot rod. And we started making some other changes we want to do. We tried throwing a gnarly converter at the car, and went from a like 3,500 stall converter to a 4,700 stall converter.
Jesus.
And let me tell you, that 4,700 stall converter, it's where it's at. The problem,
Really?
yeah, the car loved it. It was happy as can be. The only issue is the transmission. I couldn't keep the converter cold or like keep it cool, and it wasn't from lack of cooling that in the car. It's the pump and stock case doesn't flow enough fluid to get the fluid moving through the system fast enough.
Holy crap.
So that converter's stashed on the shelf, and I'll get back to that whole thing once I get through the Vegas Trino story. So we add two extra like air to oil coolers on the car at the very back of the car, because I think I mentioned to you guys before that the whole entire car is on heat exchangers. It's not
Right.
on. There's no air to oil coolers on the car when we originally built it, but we added two more, or just two extras to the back of the car, like smaller ones, to help try to mitigate the temperature before it hits the heat exchanger for the transmission side. So because we're just trying to knock like 25 to like 50 degrees of temperature out of it before it hits the heat exchangers, to try to make things a little more efficient. And we put the 3,500 stall converter back in the car for Vegas Trino. So yeah, Vegas Trino comes, load up the car, load up all the chase truck, like my truck, and then JP's dad, Johnny, who owns Johnny's Custom Auto Body in Gilroy here, him and I teamed up where I drove the first half of the race, and then so it was myself and Chris drove the first half of the race, and Johnny and his son JP, which JP's from Total Race Solutions, like their father-son team, they were going to drive the second half of the race. And with them driving second half of the race, they brought two fully loaded chase trucks, like what they use to chase their trophy trucks with. They brought those two trucks with them, and like 70% of their pit crew staff to come help me in this race.
Wow.
It was such a crazy experience working with them and seeing the speed of how they operate with changing tires, like fueling, all that stuff. Like it was a
The
eye-opening,
A-team, man.
yeah, it was a very eye-opening
sure.
experience to work with these guys and see how things should be ran. So like I'm going to take a lot of what I've learned from them and apply it going forward.
Cool.
And also Johnny and JP came down with me on every single Barstow test session. So they were there, they helped out. They brought one chase truck with them too down there when they would come down with us. And Johnny's wife, Elisa, would come from Arizona and meet us in Barstow too. And yeah, it was a huge effort from not only my part, but their part to help get the car ready to go for Vegas to Reno too. It's been really cool working with them and learning and picking their brain. I think I'm pretty sure I talked about them in the previous episode about how trying to bridge the gap between desert racing and Ultra 4 racing.
Sure.
And they've been helping me like understand the desert racing side of things. And it's like I said, it's just a really cool like skill set and knowledge I'm picking from. And they've been very patient with me and my like stuck in my rock donkey Ultra 4 ways of I want things this way, and they're like, no, that doesn't work, that's not efficient, we want to do things this, and everything, even down to like mounting the light bar on the car and keeping it on the car during the race versus they're like, no, the light bar gets put on when we do the driver change because that's when it's needed. You don't put the roof light bar on because it creates drag, creates like
Oh,
changes the
wow.
way the air hits and deflects into the car for cooling, like all this stuff. Like it, just the way they do things and how their thought process is. It's like, man, like we are so far behind
So
from
you
the way
they only
desert
put it
racers
on
think.
when you need it, not
Exactly.
until that
Yeah.
time. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I had it on there for like tech and contingency just because it looks cool and all that stuff. But after that, like we pulled it off and it sat in the truck ready to go and just got plugged in and bolted on in the pit when when we did driver change. But
Wow.
so yeah, back to Vegas to Reno. Uh, Super uneventful drive to Vegas. I would get there, do tech and contingency. After tech and contingency, Wes Miller was super kind and allowed like JP and Johnny. They asked Wes Miller if we could take the car over to his air conditioned shop to finalize everything and get the Starlink installed and just kind of double check everything on the car and just do a last minute prep before we uh, go to race. So yeah, we loaded up the car, went over to Wes Miller's, got everything dialed in, got the chase trucks dialed in, got spares situated where they needed to go, all those things. And yeah, it was pretty cool experience like leading up to that. And yeah, go to
Well,
bed and go ahead. What do you got?
I was gonna say the air conditioned shop was key because it was
Yeah, it was warm.
still, I think the coolest it got at night was like 92 or something.
Yeah, it was hot. And
Yeah.
when we got over to West Miller's, I think it was like 106 degrees
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
So it was
Fuck
a
that.
very nice thing to be able to drive into air conditioned shop and like close all the
Yes.
doors and not be sweating balls. And yeah, it was quite enjoyable. Oh, I skipped the fact the very first night we got there, we went out to a spot that Johnny and Elise and JP know, and we unloaded the car at night. We went, I think it was like 10:30 at night. We went out there because we went and aimed all the lights to get the pattern we
Oh,
wanted.
that's
and
right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we did that. I forgot about that. That was before tech and contingency. That was a whole cool learning experience too, seeing how they changed lenses out on the lights to make them do different things from a spot to like a 50/50 or like a flood, and then how you want the pattern to be versus, okay, like these A pillars are pointed this way, the roof lights here, the like there's 4 lights on bumpers, 2 face this way, 2 are kicked out this way to fill this void over here. And like the pattern that they made and created, it's like driving during the day at night with how
No
they
kidding.
have it set up. It was wild. It was
Wow.
super cool. Like that was
Wow.
something I would have never thought of. Like never thought that's how that is supposed to
Sure.
be, like adjusting and filling voids and creating this certain pattern that they have like the science and mathed out on.
Uh-huh.
Like it's wild. So yeah, back to did tech and contingency, did Wes Miller's house. Um Race day then, yeah. Race day was interesting because we didn't start early morning.
Right.
I think we started lining up at like noon. It was very odd. It was a very different feeling, like waiting around for the start of a race. Like you get antsy and like jittery and nervous, and you have time to think. And I don't like it.
No. Way too
Yeah.
much time in the morning.
Yeah, it was enough time where you could like sit down, eat breakfast, like
Yeah.
contemplate life for a long time, and you're like, man, what could go wrong? And you start like double thinking that if you like, oh, did I forget this? Did I tighten this? Did I paint mark
Right.
this? Did I torque that? Did I Loctite this? Like you start going through every little detail that you just normally like when you race hammers, you get up in the morning at 6:30 and by like 8 o'clock you're racing, you don't
Yeah.
have time to process everything. So it was interesting. But yeah, I get in the car and Chris and I suit up and start going to staging, and Chris goes, "Hey, we have a problem." I'm like, "What's the problem?"
Uh-oh.
He goes, "The GPS course is like coming in sideways." And he's like, "I have everything set up right." Like he goes, "I don't know what's up. It's like the point one antenna is wrong." I'm like, "No, the point one
What?
antenna is like facing forward, the arrow's forward, like everything's right." He goes, "I don't understand. Let me do it." So he like we're sitting in
Oh,
staging, and he's like
shit.
Google searching how to do like a hard reset. He did a hard reset, and it still didn't fix it. And
Oh, shit.
we had this issue when we were testing. I thought we solved it because I didn't have the point one antenna wired correctly, and I fixed that.
Okay.
I finally I matched it how Lowrance wants it, and with all the proper resistors for terminating it and all that stuff. And then I was just randomly like in my head, we were like 7, 8 cars from the start, right? And I look over at Chris. I'm like, "Hey, did you shut off all those other options you're supposed to shut off as far as like the vessel relying on internal antenna, blah, all these things?" He goes, "Oh crap, no!" So he went through and shut all those things off, and he goes, "Ah, crisis averted. Everything's
We're
fine.
back.
We're back in business." I'm like, "All right, cool. That's not bad. If that's the worst thing we have right now, not the
Sure.
end of the world."
You just got to whip out the paper maps and go from those, man.
Right? And yeah, so roll to the start line, and all the other trucks, we radio checked everybody, everyone's set and there was already off to their pits we had planned off or planned for and whatnot. And I think we ended up with 4 trucks, two from Johnny and Elisa, my truck, and then Joe Pavone had his truck, and then Chris had his Ford there, but we didn't really use it as like a chase truck. It was just he drove himself out, just and his buddy was driving it just to have a vehicle to drive so they could drive back home, because I think he was picking up some OBS from Barbara Rainey's kid on his way back down to Southern California. But that I'll let Chris tell that story at some point.
Okay.
So we in theory had 5 trucks, but 4 of them were really 4 trucks were being used.
Okay.
Um, so everyone was going to their own pit. My truck was the floater, where my truck was shadowing every single pit, and it if it needed, because it had all the spare, like the important spare parts on it.
Sure.
So my buddy Art was in it, and he had a guy with him. So if they needed to, they would follow the race course from the highway and then dive into the pit. If I was coming in saying I need something or tire, they'd dive in and then jump back out the freeway and meet us at the next one. And it shadowed every single pit. And then we sent the other 2 trucks from Johnny and Elisa, their 2 trucks stuck together, and they went straight to the fuel pit, because we were trying to do the race with 3 fuel stops,
Uh-huh.
which everybody else I think had to do 4. And because I have a 50-gallon fuel cell, we were able to
I was
push it a
going
little
to
bit
ask.
farther than what everybody else was able to do. But yeah, so Chris and I start the race, and immediately within like 100 yards, there's a nasty G out that just developed, and we're like, "Oh, cool, like whatever." Hit that hard 90 turn, and then we're off in the desert, and we're chasing Woody Rose's dust. And I made the choice, like we talked about a game plan of like, "Hey, we're just gonna sit outside Woody's dust, like because that keeps him close enough to us." And we just it would stay within like a quarter mile of him, and just run that pace with him. And we stuck that for 45 to 50 miles, and then all of a sudden I looked down at the temperature coming out of the transmission. It was like 340 degrees. I was like, "Oh,
Jesus.
we need to like slow down." So back the car down to like 60%, and essentially that was the pace I ran all the like with the entire race we ran was like 60% of what the car could do.
Wow.
And we were only pushing at like 85, 90ish, just kind of keeping up with Woody. Like we still had a lot left in the tank,
Uh
and
huh.
the car was taking it. It was doing everything it needed to do besides just that converter temp was getting hot. So
Was that partly because the outside temperature was brutally hot, or did Woody have some
no,
magic setup, or what?
no, it's some there we think there's something going on internally with the transmission. We think
Mm.
the pump's failing because you can watch the pressure of the pump start dropping, and it consistently was not at the 200 psi mark that it was supposed to be for the valve body and the springs. Everything that's in it is like a set 200 psi.
So it's slipping and
And
creating heat.
yeah, something somewhere is creating heat, and we think it's a
Wow.
pump failing. And because the training, like, it never like slipped none of that stuff. You could still feel the training pulling hard, all that stuff. I think something inside the converter is not getting the fluid out of the converter fast enough
Hmm.
for some reason. And the only thing that makes sense is that the pump's not flowing enough fluid.
Right.
Mm.
And you can tell that by the pressure that it's not running at the pressure it needs to be doing. So yeah, we radio in, say we have this issue. JP radios back to like, hey, like the training's not going to live if you don't like back it down. So we backed it down and cruised into the first. We went through the first two fuels or the first two pits, no issues, just kept cruising by. And then pit 3 took fuel, no issues, just kept cruising by. And then we're like a mile away from the Ultra 4 finish because Ultra 4 had their Vegas to Tonopah, which was 198 miles.
Right.
And like we had, I think physically, Woody was in front. He was in front of us by like 5 to 10 minutes, but there was, as far as physical position, there was no one around us because for some reason Woody and myself just kind of like checked out on everybody. So about a mile away from the Ultra 4 finish, we like see dust and then there's a bunch of flashing lights like medic lights. We're like, oh crap,
Oh,
like
geez.
that's not good. So we like start slowing down. We see someone with the yellow flag, so we're like slowing down and we like get way off the beaten path to get around everybody or to get around them. And it was Woody. He rear ended another
That's
car,
right.
which I'm assuming you guys probably saw the video. And
Yep.
if you didn't,
Hmm.
I don't know the other car who it was, but I know they had two flats and they were running in the main line with two flat tires,
Yep.
and Woody was doing the right thing. It was a wide open, like long straight shot. He's 70, 75 mile an hour, and he's like, you watch a video and you see him like let off of it as he's coming in the dust, but then as soon as he gets in dust, it's boom right into the back of the other guy's car, and like 70 mile an hour to dead stopped and just wasted the whole front of that car and the guy in front and all that stuff. It was a mess, but
Wow.
we knew
Yeah.
that Woody was out of the car, his brother Dylan was out of the car, and we saw they were fine. And we're like, they already had like course workers there with them. They had the course workers, like I said, with yellow flags on it. So we're like, okay, like we don't need to stop. They're good. And we just keep going. And Chris and I looked at each other and we're like, that means we're physical first on course. And we're
That's
like,
right. You're doing the math.
yeah, we're like, this is weird, but okay, we're physically first on course. And then all of a sudden we look down and the car starts dropping voltage. We're like, God
Oh,
damn it.
no.
I was thinking like, oh, maybe we have like a plug came undone or something on the back of the alternator and like whatever. So Art was already at that pit. I think that was pit 5, and we didn't plan on using him, but he pulled into there just to be there. And we pull in. I'm like, hey, like a radio, and like, hey, check the plugs and alternators. And he's like, oh, everything's good. I'm like, fuck it, like we don't have to. I don't have spare alternators here. Like I got nothing on this. Like right now, I have two alternators on the car, and both of them are failing. And we're like, what's going on? Like whatever, we're just gonna
Jeez.
keep going. And because it was weird, it was charging, not charging, charging, not charging, and it'd be like
Sounds like a
14
connection.
volts, like 11 volts, like 13.5, like 10.7, 12 and a half. Like it was jumping all over the place. And Chris and we were just watching it, and we're like, well, we're just gonna run it and run it.
Right.
If we have alternators failing, I'm gonna push this like far and fast as we can go to get whatever closest to the next pit, and we'll deal with it then. And we just keep going. We make it all the way to pit 6, which is where we're doing the driver change at. And JP jumps in the car, starts looking at things while we were getting out. Because the way we set it up is we didn't have enough people at all the pits or at the driver change to man doing a tire swap. So
Sure.
what we set up was Chris and I would bail out, change the rear tires, because we put 2 rear tires, 2 brand new ones on when they get in the car, that's something also that was a new thing to me. Desert guys in trophy truck world, in like 200, 250 miles, they put fresh header tires on the back of the car.
Sure.
I didn't have enough brand new tires to do all 4, otherwise we would have done all 4, but we put 2 brand new tires on the back because that's what I had. So Chris and I bailed out while fueling was happening. They were getting in the car, and we bailed out and went around and started changing tires because we were already set up in our fire chutes.
Sure.
We were ready. It was just a quick in and out, boom, bang. It was actually really fluid and smooth. Like, it was wild how fast this went. We do that, fueling's done, and like JP's still looking over the alternators, trying to figure it out. He had his laptop out while he was getting set up in the car, like plugged into the computer, and was looking at things. And he goes, "Dude, both alternators are smoked." I'm like, "Well, shit, that's not good." And we figured out that this was after facts. We figured out we're spinning them too fast.
Really?
Like, yeah, the car red lines at like 7,200 RPM, and the stock pulleys are rated for like 15,000 RPMs. Like, but you got to think about how small the pulley is
Sure.
compared to the crank. And I've never ran a car that long of a distance at that higher RPM.
Sure.
Like, when you're racing short course King Hammers, you're high RPM down. You're all over the place, for short periods of time. And I've never had an issue because we didn't change the crank pulley, we didn't change the alternators. They're all the same
Gotcha.
stuff that was on my old car. And obviously I put new alternators on, but it's the same like off the shelf alternator as a 200 amp alternator from like an Escalade or something. Is the highest output like off the shelf alternator you can get. And yeah, we just figured out we're spinning them too fast. And then so I drove 30 minutes back to Tonopah and went and bugged a bunch of Ultra 4 guys that quit their race at there and didn't keep going past to go to the actual Best in Desert finish.
Right.
So, side story, if anyone doesn't know, like I said, Ultra 4 did their Vegas to Tonopah race, but if you pay the full Best of Desert entry, you get to do the whole entire race, but you still get scored for Ultra 4.
You got Ultra 4 points,
4
too.
points, yeah. I didn't care about Ultra 4
Sweet.
points because I wasn't in the points hunt, obviously, because I haven't ran all year. This is the first race for me with this car. But you could double dip if you win
Right.
Ultra 4 and win Best in the Desert. You essentially get paid out by both races. So I went back to the Ultra 4 pit, like literally jumped in my chase truck, drove back. It was like 30 minutes, and I went to like 3 different people, and it ended up being I got an alternator from Megan Miller, Megan Derrick, Johnny Valadez from Telemetry Motorsports,
Okay, yeah.
and then the guys it's like Sasquatch Motorsports. It's a portaled axled 4800 car.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up using the Sasquatch Motorsports one because I was a DC power alternator, and then I used the one from Johnny Valadez, and then put those 2 on the car because those were the 2 closest to each other, like 2 closest size amperage. And then all we did was you just left the lower amperage one unplugged, and then if the other one started failing, we'd get out and plug that one back in, or plug the new one in, or the lower voltage one in, unplug the higher voltage, because in order to run the dual alternators and have them trigger each other, they have to be identical alternators. So when you have 2 different ones, you can't. The system starts tripping out. It doesn't like that. One's only charging at this amperage versus the other one's charging at a higher amperage. For some reason, there's some witchcraft that goes on there. I don't really understand it all.
It's magical.
Yeah, I let my engine tuner JP handle that, but he said that's
Right.
what we have to do, so that's what we left it unplugged. But so
Wow.
I drove that, like I said, I drove the half hour to Tonopah to get that, and then drove the half hour back. It
Jesus.
took about 20 minutes to get the alternators on because we realized that one of the DC power one had the bigger pulley on it, but that screwed up the belt length, so the belt wouldn't go on. So we had to pull alternator off, pull the pulley off, swap the pulleys with
Oh,
one of the stock
geez.
alternators back on it, then put it back on the car. Phone screwed
Oh,
up there. Sorry about that.
Uh-oh.
um, so we put the other pulley back on, or the stock pulley back on, and then put it on the car, got everything set up, and then just as we were finishing up and Johnny and JP were like buckling in, is when second place passed us. By this time it was about an hour and a half. We had an hour and a half lead coming into pit 6 on second place.
Okay.
And so they like second place just passed, and as soon as we got them set up, we had a split time of when as like based on Starlink and track and all that stuff, we could give them a split time of how far distance they made it and time and how far like Johnny was behind. And within 10 minutes, Johnny already passed second place and was putting a gap on him. Like this guy can
Wow.
charge at night and during the dust like nobody's business. Like this guy is a operator. Like
Jeez.
I rode with him. I let him drive my car and I jumped in the passenger seat just because I was curious to see how much like what the car can take versus where my skill set is at. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not driving my car
Sure.
nearly as hard as I should be when like if that's the pace his car can take. This was obviously back testing.
Gosh.
But so yeah, he chased down second, passed him, and then I guess second place had issues, so then they created this big gap, and so now we were just every like 15 minutes because we had Starlink on the car. JP would text us like, "Hey, what's a split?" And that's where we drove the race by, or like they drove the race by the split essentially. And yeah, they ended up cruising through, no issues. They had one flat tire. They just kissed a rock at night, and we had to
Hmm.
swap that tire out in one of the pits. And then Ryan Miller was running pit for some of the Ford Performance guys with JT Taylor and all them.
Right.
I think it was for Lauren Healy and Roger Lavelle. The two of them, they had their, I think it was a Raptor R, and they hit me on Facebook Messengers like, "Hey, our truck's stuck. You guys are the closest one coming up. Can you give us a pull?" And I was like, "Dude, we're in first. Like, I'll put it out to like I'm not driving the car right now. So I'll put it up to the driver and co-driver. I'll send them a
Uh-huh.
text and let them know. But ultimately, it's their choice if they want to do it. I like it's their car
Sure.
right now. They're driving it. Like I would
Sure.
say yes if I was driving it, but I don't know what they're gonna say. So I
Right.
sent them the text
right.
message out, whatever. I didn't hear anything back, and then apparently they ended up stopping. It was the Ford guys were buried in silt, like
Oh boy.
horribly in silt. And my car tranny was getting hot. It was kind of running a little rough, but they still pulled up, hooked up a strap, and drug them like a mile and a half up the
Oh
until it
my
got the hard
God.
pack, and then unhooked up and kept going. And yeah, like JT and Ryan came up to me in the very last pit. They're like, "Dude, thanks so much for that. Like, appreciate it." So that was super cool. Help the Ford Performance guys, and
They're
then
giving you
Absolutely.
50% off a Ford truck for a
right,
future purchase.
it'd be nice if they did.
Right.
But yeah, it was it was wild, and yeah, the end up at the finish line, and we waited for them, and they crossed finish line at I think it was like 12:44 at night.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a pretty wild adventure. But yeah, we ended up crossing like by about an hour. I think after I had one or two speed penalties on my end that I didn't realize, and yeah, I think it's about an hour after corrected time and all that.
So
Wow.
Is that what we won by second place?
you mentioned speed penalties. What were those about? Is there speed areas of the track
There
that had speed
was
limits?
there's quite a few speed zones out there, and we ended up coming into them a little too hot, and like just didn't get the car shut down in time, and that was just my fault as a driver error. I was trying to push hard in the beginning of the race, and said I've never really raced with this having speed limits or like speed zones anywhere, so I didn't know how far I can push it hard because it was like speed zone coming up and then like bam, speed zone. You're like, oh shit, like I probably should have checked up a lot sooner than what I did, and it was nobody's fault but my own. That was 100% my error. So
Well,
yeah,
you had speed zones coming into the pits,
yeah,
but there was speed zones out in the middle of the
yeah,
course, Chris, for
yeah,
turtles crossing the racetrack and some what was the other one? There was electrical. They were putting in electrical lines or something, and you had like a
yeah.
10
Yep.
mile stretch at 25 miles an hour, or
Yeah,
11-mile
it was
stretch.
like 11 and a half miles or something
Yeah,
like that of a stretch of 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. And
Jesus.
one thing that we have in my car that once you get the car shut down, you hit a button and you can just roll into the throttle about like quarter to half throttle, and it literally speed limits the car and will keep it there. And but we actually have it set up correctly, not like how it was when it was pulling timing out when we were trying to race.
Okay.
Like we have it set to where it actually starts cutting out, like cutting spark, cutting fuel, all that stuff out. So it physically will not let you go to past like 27.3 mile an hour.
Okay. Wow.
No matter,
That's
you can floor it, you can not. It's obviously not good to sit there stay with
no.
100% TPS, but you can stay floored and it will not go past 25 mile an hour.
Yeah.
A lot
So
of
it's
us,
the
a lot
opposite
of
of
us would
cruise
call that
control.
valet mode.
Yes.
Yeah, valet mode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's just get the car shut down. Chris hits a button, and you just roll back into it slightly till literally can feel the car hit that speed limiter, and you
Oh
just kind of
yeah,
sit there and ride that spot.
that's
And it's
cool.
something where that it gives me a break as a driver, it gives Chris a break as a navigator instead of calling out 25, 25, 26, 27, 23, 20, like calling out mile per hour
Right.
all the time. It gives you time to think, catch a break, like grab a drink, eat, take a bite of a snack or something.
Sure.
It makes a world of difference. So yeah, that was a nice thing to have during there, but you got to get the car shut down fast enough when you come into the speed zone before you hit it. You can't just be doing like 70 and hit the button. Like that just is horrible on thing.
Right.
I
So
bet.
yeah, I
So
just
let's
like I said, the speed penalties was just my mistake and just came in too hot, and I think it ended up being like 2 or 3 minutes worth of speed penalties or something like that, or I can't remember. But yeah,
that's not horrible.
but we had about a hour and 15, about an hour and like 5 minutes to play with for corrected time on second place coming into the finish line. So
Well, that's
Wow.
fantastic. Absolutely.
yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
how excited were you? I mean, getting out of the car and you're like, okay, we got some issues to dial in here with the alternators and all that. But as the race progressed into the evening, because you started at freaking noon,
Yeah,
but I mean, as you got closer, the car got closer and closer to the finish line. You had to be like a kid on Christmas morning.
dude, I was so stoked. Like I was so excited. Like I don't have words to explain of. I was like, man, just get the car across the finish line. Just get the car across the
Right.
finish line. Like it was such a huge deal to take a essentially brand new car that's never seen a green flag
Right.
and run it all the way 498 miles later and cross the finish line first. I was like, if we crossed the finish line, I would have been stoked. I had no idea that we would actually go out and win. Like, obviously, I wanted to do that. That was obviously my goal. I
Sure.
want to show up and win every race I can whenever come out and race. And it was like I said, it was like surreal. It was super
Wow.
surreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was what was cool was like sharing it with Johnny and JP and all their
Yeah.
team and all that. It was such a group effort that it wasn't just like me winning at like going to NorCal and that's just me doing my thing. It was such a huge team effort because like essentially I drove the car to pit six and then all I did was change two tires. Like I didn't and then jumped in my truck and drove my truck to each pit. Like they handled everything. Like
Yeah,
it
but
was
you built the
insane.
damn car.
Yeah, but like
You
at the end of the
spent
day
a
though, you
year
got
and
to
a half building a
I,
car.
I did. It was about a year actually. From the
Yeah.
first time I started it to when I drove for the first time at Barstow, it was almost a year to the date.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
but like I did all that, but when it comes to the race side of it, like if they weren't there, I wouldn't have finished that race because, like I said,
Sure.
they did all the work there. And
Hmm. Hmm.
you've known me long enough. Like I don't operate well working with people, so it's been
Yeah.
I I pushed myself to be comfortable with letting other people work on my car because I've grown quite fond of these desert races, and I want to do more of them. And I've realized that if I'm going to be doing more desert races, I need to start building a pit crew of my own and trusting people to work on my own car and say, okay, hey,
Sure.
this is what needs to be done, and just letting them do it and know it's going to get done right.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's a
more.
tough thing to do from
Yeah.
coming from the last 15 years of doing and everything myself and prepping cars myself. Like it's really tough to do. All my pit crew guys that come out to Hammers, they they know me that like leading up to the race, they just leave me alone and let me geek
Sure.
out on the car. But I've been getting better at allowing people to help me, and that was Vegas Reno was a big learning experience for me in that aspect. And like I said, it was such a huge team effort to get the car to the finish line that I couldn't have done it without all those guys.
For sure.
That's cool, man. That's great to
Yeah,
hear, and
yeah.
yeah, good on you because that's hard to do. I mean, that's your baby. You've invested a lot of sweat equity, and not to mention a few coins and piggy banks and stuff thrown at
Yeah.
that thing, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Few Visa cards were thrown at it. One
right,
MasterCard was thrown at it. Yeah.
right,
I
right.
made some really poor financial decisions, but
Well, yeah,
That's
it's
racing.
racing.
I
Yeah,
I
hashtag
needed the car
racing.
done. Yeah, I needed the
Yeah,
car done, and I
and
did what I
it
had to
paid
do.
off. And
Yeah.
I mean, look at the experience you gained and working with an A class team that has that experience in the
Yeah.
desert to get you up to speed and go, dude, this is what we need to do. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
let's do it.
I
So
I was so out of my element when it comes to desert
yeah,
racing, and like honestly, God, like I've never pictured myself as being like a fast desert racer at Hammers because I don't really have any
so,
experience doing that. I can short course the shit out of anything. I can rock crawl the
sure.
crap out of anything. Driving the desert's like you would think it's just a flat foot it and just hold on and hope for the best, but it's not. Like I was a
So
eye opening experience in that too.
Well, I
that
mean,
was one of
Yeah.
my questions. Oh, now Chris is going to beat me to it.
well, I
Go
was
for it.
gonna. Your old car, had the you had a pretty impressive shock package on the car, but it was limited in its
Yeah.
travel. Correct. So
Yeah.
you moved up to a 4800 car, and it's obviously a single shock at each corner, but
Yeah.
much
But it's
bigger travel.
my new car is a leading arm and trailing arm. So
Hmm.
the front is mounted off the lower link and the rear is mounted off the lower link. That's the leading arm and a trailing arm. And yeah, it's a single shock. They're the 3.0 MBRs and completely untuned out of the box. That car was faster than my other car that had 6 years of like tuning on it. Like out of the
Wow.
box, that car was faster. We
So
we set my new car up completely different than what what my old car was set up with. We played with weights in different places. We wanted the car to be X amount of percentage rear weight. Um, we did a completely different like spring setup than what 90% of people are running in Ultra Four to try to get it to be fast in the desert.
Right.
Because figure if it can go fast through the desert, I can get to rocks faster, and I'll just deal with how it needs to handle in the
sure,
rocks.
sure,
Because we're not like
exactly.
quote unquote rock crawling anymore. It's like bonsai and hammer
Rock
through rocks.
racing,
And
rock
yeah,
racing.
That's
we're not like
exactly it.
being technical rock crawlers anymore. Not like it used to be 10 years ago. Like the speeds we're running through these trails is unreal, and you don't really get time to like tiptoe through everything. So the car can be a little stiffer in the rocks and just deal with it. So I'd rather be faster in the desert. And the testing in Barstow, like if you can get a car to live and be good at Barstow, I am convinced it'll be good anywhere else. That
Yeah,
place
well,
is gnarly.
and how about, I mean, just like we keep talking about the temperatures in the desert here for this race, and you started at noon,
Yeah.
you know, approaching the hottest part of the day.
That's why we did so many test sessions in Barstow,
Yeah,
Jason, was because
yeah.
that was the closest place that I could get the similar temperatures and similar
It's
conditions in
Africa
like the
hot.
absolute worst case scenario
Africa.
in Barstow versus what
Yeah.
you get in Vegas to Reno, because we knew we'd be starting in the later in the day, so we tested in the hottest part of the day and
Right.
in the roughest terrain. And honestly, Barstow is 10 times, probably 100 times harder and rougher on a car than what Vegas to Reno was.
Wow.
But if you can, like I said, if you can get a car to survive Barstow, it'll be great everywhere else. And that's what we were trying to do. And that's why we're pushing the car as hard as we were doing. Like every time we went out to Barstow, it was 110% of
Jeez.
how hard
Yeah.
you could drive the car, and trying to make it do the absolute worst case scenario and worst conditions possible,
Mm-hmm.
which is,
Yeah.
it's hard to go take a brand new car out and just go beat the ever living shit out of it, trying to figure out what's its weak points and what's going on with it, like what it needs to handle for cooling, like all these different things. And
Sure.
you're trying to create the absolute, like I said, the absolute worst case scenario in a controlled environment. And that's why we just
Absolutely.
kept going in the same place. We had the same route we ran, and we would just constantly do the same lap after lap after lap. Just it was like a 20-mile lap out there. And I think before Vegas to Reno, I think we put about 200 miles on the car, just running it, trying to work kinks out of it and get it ready for Vegas to Reno. And doing all that, we got the shocks with only Phil opening up the rear shocks once to do a valving change. We got the shocks pretty decent, and to a point now where all four need to come off and they all need all four new like a valving change done on it. But we got it to where we can really upset the car in like one situation, and we just like, okay, we can live with this for Vegas Reno. We can deal with this. We don't want to go make a
Yeah.
drastic change shocks right before Vegas Reno because we don't have another time to go out testing to see if that was the right move. So like we got it to where it's like, okay, it's just not happening this. We know what it's going to do in this, so we can be prepared for it when it happens at Vegas to Reno.
Yeah. And my question was going back to running Vegas to Reno and now all this experience that you talked about and everything. How do you think that's going to help you at King of the Hammers next year?
It probably is not going to help me at King of the Hammers next year because I'm not racing hammers next year.
You're not going to do it, huh?
I'm not. I'm actually taking a full year off of racing. I like the biggest thing I want to concentrate on getting my 13 fabrication business, like get that going and have a really like steady stream of side work coming in for that on top of my day job. And I want to spend some time with my family. My kid's going to be 3 years old in a
Yeah.
month, and he's at that age where he likes to go places, like wants to go do things, and it's a crucial time right now, I think, to be a dad. Like I spent enough time in the last year and a half, like trying to get this car done and being away from home, that like I missed a lot of things that I don't want to do that. So I'm taking a year off just to kind of reset my life and like just obviously I'm not going to not drive my car. Obviously I'm going to like test and
Right.
tune it and do all
Y-
those things, but yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with King of the Hammers too. Like that's a whole nother conversation. Like
It
we're not sure
is.
what's going on with that. The whole, like, I'm not talking about the sport because like I love the sport. Like this is where I've made a good name for myself outside of the rock crawling side of it, but the ultra four like racing side of it, I made like a great name for it. I've met a ton of great people from this, but I'm really curious to see what's going to happen next year, especially after this past year with the controversy of the no payout situation. Like
Mm-hmm.
that plays a big factor in things, and
Yes, it does.
like not, they said not knocking Dave. Like he put out the email ahead of time. Like it was a, hey, you're probably not going to get paid, but we all still show up anyway. But when
Yeah.
it actually happened of not paying out,
Yeah. It was like,
I
what the
know it
fuck?
rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So I'm like curious to see what's going to happen with that whole situation. And I
So,
figured it was a good time to, you know what, like I'm going to reset my life for a year, knock some debt out, knock out a bunch of side work, spend some time with my family, and if things work out at the end of the season, I'll come back and race one or two races and see what shakes out. But I'll have the car dialed in, a bunch of time on it, testing tuning, more Barstow trips, like all these things. Like I have a lot of changes to things that I want to do to the car now that we've raced it. We're like, okay, let's go out and fix the transmission issue, and then go out and drive the car and see, okay, this is this. Okay, what can we do now to make it even faster?
Sure.
So
Resolve the alternator issue.
that's already in the works. DC Power is building me 2 new alternators, and we're going to a bigger pulley on it. And then once I get those, I should get them in about probably right before Off-Road Expo, actually. So I should get them and be able to put those on and measure for a new belt and just slap a new belt on, be money and ready to go.
Okay.
Sweet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2027 hammers.
Yeah.
Are you going to be more ready for the desert? I mean, I got to imagine. So,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a whole game changer racing, what you did, Vegas to Reno, and the section that you raced, but still see.
It'll make a big difference because I'm obviously, like I said, I'm going to be driving the car a lot and testing and tuning, and I'm going to still be chasing for JP and his dad Johnny and their trophy truck because they're going to go run some Legacy series. So I'm going to go chase with them.
Cool.
And go help out and learn that side of the pit strategy side of things, because the pit strategy and like all that is like mind-boggling, like how you organize things. Okay, like, hey, this here we'll shave like a minute off if we take a pit here instead of over here because the trucks can get in and out of there faster. Like it's wild, and I'm looking forward to like using 2026 as like a learning and growing year for me in that aspect.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I like it. That's very responsible of you, Justin.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
Jesus.
You're almost growing up. Wow.
I know. It's odd. It's hard to not want to race. Like I do want to race, but it just isn't the right move for me next year. Like I need a year of, like I said, resetting my life, concentrating on my family and my business, and like obviously testing and tuning the car and whatnot. And I mean, like I said, I'm gonna use a year for a growth year for me and just see what shakes out, what transpires after that. And I know I've talked to a lot of my marketing partners, and they understand, they get it. So like they have no problem with me taking a year off and whatnot. So it's a really cool. It's gonna be a cool year to work on growing myself in that aspect.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to find some find some driver sheets that people need filled and see what I can work out in that avenue, and see if I can still go racing, but not necessarily with my own car.
Right.
Try to talk to some of these guys in Vora or Legacy or Best in Desert that need a driver for like maybe the Baja Nevada race, the Nevada 1000, all that stuff, because they all have multiple drivers for those. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get with a team on something like that. So shameless plug, anybody listening to the podcast,
like a
mercenary
driver.
Yeah, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a message. I'll happily abide, and I'll come out, pay my own way to go out and go testing with you guys. And if you don't like me, totally fully respect that. If you don't like my driving style, I get it. No big deal. But just I would like to try to get that opportunity for myself and see if I can see what I can do with that.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, you can still take your car to Cars and Coffee and stuff,
Yeah.
And especially Gilroy's got a great Cars and Coffee.
Yeah, Gilroy does. Morgan Hill does. We have like every third Sunday.
Yeah,
what's funny about the Cars and Coffee, I've been collecting enough parts now over the last 5 years and now after my old 4500 car got wrecked, that gave me fully built axles for the car, and I have shocks sitting on the shelf that I worked a trade deal out with Art Stein because I have his car in my shop right now, his 4800 car, which he says hi, Chris and Jason. I was texting him before this, and I was telling him oh hey, I'm taking a night or 2 nights off from working on your car. I got to do a podcast tonight, and then the 23rd is my wife and I's second wedding anniversary.
Yeah,
so
how about that?
Right, I know it's been 2 years since you married us, Jason.
Both of us were there.
Both of you guys were there. Yeah,
it was a great day.
So I was texting Art, and he's told me to make sure I said hi to you guys. But so I worked out a trade deal on some labor time for doing work on his car for his old bypass air shocks, and I have a Samurai body and frame sitting at the ranch here. So piecemeal a like cool little trail rig together that I can drive 2 cars and coffee from the house with my wife and kiddo
There
in
you
it.
go. See, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep. And something I can come cruise and hang out at the safety clinics you guys do over at Hollister,
Yeah, we
which I'm
just did
pretty sure
that.
you guys just did that on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I like to try to be a part of some of those if I can too. And yeah,
Right on. Get
I
the
got
trail
grand
cruise.
plans for
Yes, you
things.
do. No, and you've always had grand plans, and you've delivered. So you
Yeah.
talked about building a new car, and
Did it.
made it
Yeah.
happen, and
Yeah.
shit, finished
Yeah.
got first place at Vegas to Reno. So
Yep.
congratulations,
Hell
man. It's
yeah.
Yep. Thank you guys. Another thing, I don't know if we ever talked about on the last podcast, the rebranding I did from Rock Hard
That's
Racing
right.
to Justin Hall Motorsports. I don't know if we ever talked
Yeah.
about that.
All right, let
Yeah.
it rip.
Well, Rock Hard Racing has been something that I've had ever since I was like 18 and rock on and whatnot. But when the old car got wrecked and I started building the new car, the start of what was it, 2025, I thought it'd be a good year to just completely rebrand myself and like kind of retire the Rock Hard Racing name and put out Justin Hall Motorsports. And
Yep.
I like the motorsports aspect side of it because I want to be involved in more than just racing. Like you said, the motorsports falls under trade shows, falls under safety clinics, falls on car shows, obviously racing, different like avenues of stuff that I want to be more a part of. So I'm trying to encompass that in the new brand that I put out.
Yeah, it's not just rocks.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole outside of rock sports and off-road motorsports. There's like roundy round motorsports, circle track stuff. I don't necessarily know if I
Sure.
want to do that. I appreciate it. I've grew up watching. I don't know if I want to do that. I'm not going to say no to go take a few hot laps. I think that'd be cool, but
Sure.
I don't necessarily want to do that. But like, just I want to be involved in a bunch of different uh, avenues in motorsports. So that's why I did the rebranding thing, and
Don't want to
it's
box yourself
been
in.
yeah, exactly. Trying to expand everything and grow the name and grow the team and all that stuff. So
Yeah, you bet, man.
yeah.
That's cool.
Said I have grand plans that I'm trying to manifest and make happen in life.
That's the way to do it, man.
Yeah.
You got it. Yeah.
Yep.
No. Very smart, responsible. Get those bills paid off and
Yeah.
race car parts and
Yeah. I got
get the trail wheeler going.
Yep. So we can all hit the trail. I can actually come up to Nevada and come wheel around out there with you.
Some cool stuff out here, man.
There's
really
some
cool
badass stuff. I've wheeled a lot out in Nevada
Yeah.
and wheeled some of the trails that aren't spoken about out there, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Definitely
We were
pretty
just
cool
at,
out there.
Prison Hill a couple weeks ago, and that was
Yep.
fun too. So
Yeah, Prison Hill's a really cool small spot. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Have you ran pick and pull yet?
I haven't run pick and pull
Ooh,
yet.
you need to go
I've
run
heard
pick and pull.
Oh, there's a bunch. There's a
Yeah.
couple that like on a need to know basis too.
Yep.
That
Yeah. Pick and
I wanna
pull, I
go
think,
run.
is pretty known by now. When I ran it, it was still hush hush. Like I
Mhm.
probably ran it like 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Jesse Haynes, myself, and Jake Hollenbeck went
Yeah.
out and ran it. Yeah. Jesse had a single seater. Jake Hollenbeck had his what's the new chassis name? I forget what it's called. It was an axial like branded car, but I can't remember what the name of it
Oh,
was.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't. He was selling the business like that chassis Wraith. I think it was the Wraith.
Oh, the Wraith
Was it? Yeah,
chassis.
I think that's what
Okay.
it was. Yeah,
I've heard of that.
yeah. So he had that, and I had my old rear steer buggy, and we went and ran that trail. That was super fun.
Right on.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and then you got to come up to Trail Hero one of these years. That's coming up
Yeah,
here.
I've only been to Trail Hero once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only been once. I just went
Yeah.
up there for the We Rock event they had, and that was at least like 7-8 years ago. I think it was like either the first or second Trail Hero they did.
Yeah, this is going to
Yeah.
be the 10th year, and
Yeah,
We
so then it
Rocks
would
is
have been
coming
8 years.
back.
Yeah.
We Rocks is coming back, and then of course they got the crazy trail breaker and stuff going on where
Yep.
cars are absolutely defying gravity. I'm pretty sure they have a switch on the dash that says gravity off.
Right. Yeah. It's wild what some of the new rock crawlers are doing nowadays, and like
It is insane.
what is that new car? The G Spec or something like
Yeah,
that?
the
Yeah,
G Spec.
that thing is
Yeah,
badass. Like
Sasquatch
yeah,
Motorsports is
I
another
s-
one. I mean,
I
it's just
saw
all
it when
these
it was
guys.
getting wired at what was it, Josh West's
Oh,
place.
uh-huh.
Yeah, and I was kind of eyeing it when we were doing the chassis dyno, the Trent Fab car before Hammers. I was looking, I'm like, man, that thing's pretty badass.
There's some
Like,
cool stuff.
it's pretty fucking cool. Like the
Yeah.
technology they have nowadays, like, dude, they have like a slipper clutch in these Dana 300s now where they just pull a lever and it like disconnects the rear drive for you in front dig without ever having to disconnect the transfer case output
Mm-hmm.
shaft. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this is really freaking cool. Like, where's this technology been at when I was competing? It would have
Yeah.
been game changing.
Yeah.
It's like cheating now. And then like Jesse Haynes had that whole like reverse drive, like
The
box in
reverser.
hits, the
Yep.
reverser to not torque load the chassis. It
Mm-hmm.
was like crazy what technology is nowadays in those cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool to watch them. I love the Trailbreaker and
Yeah.
seeing all that stuff up close and personal.
Yeah.
So right
Yep.
on,
Yeah.
man. Well, look at you. So from way back old school rock crawler to now desert racer.
Yeah. Honestly, like I said, I've grown pretty fond of those desert racing. It's a lot of fun. I'd like to do a lot more of it.
I had fun being in the pits and chasing
Oh yeah.
down Highway 95. So
Yep.
that was cool. Up close in the action there, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. That
Yep.
was. I mean, I thought I would like it, but I didn't know. Never experienced it before. I didn't like the heat, but other than
Yeah.
that, it was
You
freaking
didn't have
awesome.
that
And then,
much heat. You guys got to start in
no,
the beginning of the morning.
no, exactly.
Yeah.
The worst day for us was during tech and contingency
Yeah.
there, but we at least got to run into the air conditioned truck and travel down
Yep.
the highway while you guys
Yeah.
were still in the race car. So
Yep.
we had that going for us, which was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. You guys got the tech pretty late too. I was in line at like 6:30 in the morning and tech didn't even open up till 8, and I think I was still like the 25th car back or something
Yeah,
like that.
we were probably 15, 20 behind you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy. Like
It was
absolutely crazy.
wild,
Yeah.
wild, wild, but good stuff,
Yeah.
man. Well, right on. Well, man, glad we finally got to get you back on and document this for you,
Yeah.
and have get the firsthand experience. Because obviously you and I have been talking a lot, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, we got to get this out on the podcast because it's
Yeah.
a damn cool story.
I'm
It
sure there's
is.
a
And
lot of stuff that I missed and like some of the finite details on stuff, but it's hard to remember everything that happened in the last year and a half.
well, yeah, I mean, you built a car. You were smart about it. You didn't, slam it together to get it ready for KOH and be out there and
Yeah.
you know, uh, yeah, that was the right call. And then to be able to do this race, and then hello,
Yeah.
let's bring home a trophy while we're at it. So
Yeah.
pretty freaking
Yeah.
cool.
Thanks, man. I was being really anal and was chasing perfection with the car, and like we nailed it as far as like everything that we could at the time, but now looking back at it, I'm like, man, I should have changed this when I was there. Should have changed that now.
Yeah,
And but I'm gonna address those changes, and they're gonna be interesting changes, and probably gonna see something different with the car, and you'll be like, man, like why would you do that? And just all on the quest of going faster.
sure, sure.
That's right.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we talked about some of those changes. So good
Yeah.
luck with that. And
Yep.
I get it.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Right on. Chris, you got any other questions or anything?
I don't. I just wanted to give Justin the opportunity to give a shout out to his business partners, marketing partners. Who's working with you.
Yeah, there's a lot. Obviously, Johnny's Custom Auto Body, Total Racing Solutions. Like I said, they were a big part of helping get the car finished and across the finish line at Vegas to Reno. My shop, 13 Fabrication, Falcon Tire, Rough Stuff Specialties, Driven Racing Oil, Dirty Life Wheels, Brennick, South Bay Driveline, Yukon, ECU Masters, Willwood, Monster Seal. There's probably I know there's a few that I'm missing too. normally I can cheat and
I was gonna
scroll
say
through
usually you're sitting by your car and you can just look at the car
I
there.
can look
Yeah,
at it, or I'm like, I have a list on my phone, but since I'm recording from my phone right now,
yeah, yeah.
I
That's all
can't
right.
scroll through that list and look.
It's all good.
I know I'm missing some people,
Don't
but
forget your
yeah,
wife.
obviously, well, that's a given. My wife, she supported me and took care of my kiddo while I was gone in the shop multiple nights and pulling all nighters doing that. And
Right.
yeah, like I said, I gotta celebrate 2 years being married with her. When this
Wow.
comes out, I'll
Congrats.
obviously be past it, but on September 23rd. So looking forward to that. That's gonna be a fun. We're gonna go out to dinner, take her to a fancy dinner restaurant, and wine and dine her a little bit because she
There you
deserves it.
go.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yep. Yeah,
Cool.
she's been a trooper through this whole build process and super understanding and hasn't batted an eye at anything that I needed to get done. So it's
That's
been
awesome.
found a keeper with that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She's great.
She
Yeah.
knew what she was getting into.
Yep. Yeah.
That's true.
Also, I want to thank Chris for co-driving for me, jumping in the wrong seat with me. He's a for me, like him and I work really well together. Like I understand his calls. He understands how like my driving style, and it just works for the two of us. And I'm looking forward to once I do more races with having him in the wrong seat, filling that for me. So
A
yeah,
lot of growth this year,
yeah,
man.
it's been a lot. It's been the year of growth this year, and
Yeah,
gonna carry that into 2026 and see where things go and try to hit the ground running for 2027
cool.
and start cherry picking races that I want to do. I don't know if I'll ever I want to unless I get a pretty decent marketing partner that flips a pretty nice check my way. Um, Probably just gonna start cherry picking races that I want to do
Okay.
and
All right.
just come out, show up, hopefully kick everybody's ass, and then go home and cherry pick the next one that I want to race. And
There you go.
I I want to always show up with a car that's 110% ready to go. And
Sure.
with running, like having a day job, running my shop, being a father, being a husband, it's hard when you're trying to do a series. There's just not enough time in the day to get the car 100%. And that's why I'm going to kind of scale back because I want to, whenever I show up to a race, I want to know for a fact that I'm gonna go out there and win. Like
Yeah.
I know the car can do it. The car's fast enough. The car's badass enough. It'll do it. I just need to make sure it's always at that level when I show up to take the green flag. And
People be
that
when you pull in, the people be like, "Oh my, holy shit! It's Justin Hall."
yeah, that's what I
Oh
want.
my
That
God, it's
everything
Justin Hall.
every time I show up, I want that going forward. Now I just want to be able to like show up and be like, God damn it, he's here.
I like that
Pack up, we're
plan.
going home.
I like
You
it.
know, I
I
like
like it.
it sounds arrogant and whatnot, but that's what I want out of life. Like I
Mhm.
want to like show up when like think about it, when Lauren Healy shows up to race, people are like, God damn it, Lauren's there. You know, or
Or the
like
Gomez
or the
brothers.
Gomez brothers, like shit, the Gomez brothers are racing. Like
Mhm.
there goes all three podium spots because all three of
It's
them
like
are gonna take it. You
That
know what I
seems to
like
mean?
be
Like
the case
yeah.
nowadays,
yeah,
for sure.
I
Yeah, yeah.
that's what I want the brand to be known as was like we come out and we win and we show up with a very nice car and all of our stuff's put together. My team's professional. We're all like just everything's a nice, smooth, oiled running machine, and
Wow.
that's what I want out of my racing career going forward. Now I've learned and tasted a little bit of it. I'm like I want that. I want all of it, and I got to do what I'm going to do what I have to do to get to that point.
Right
Sweet.
on.
Yeah,
That's great.
We know
That's
yeah.
you'll do
awesome.
it. We know you'll do it. You're the
I hope
man.
so. I'm cross my fingers. I'm gonna get there, and it's like I said, try to take the Just All Motorsports brand to a different level and bring in something that we haven't done yet and isn't as seen in the rock sports industry, and that's what I want to bring to the table.
Sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, but it's
Absolutely.
gonna take me, like I said, a year to get to
Well,
that point.
smart. Yeah. Get it dialed in.
Well,
Yep.
last but not least, Justin, how do they get a hold of you?
Obviously, you have Justin Hall Motorsports on Instagram. Same on Facebook. You have my shop page, which is 13 Fabrication. That's on Instagram. TikTok, I think, is that Justin13. Yeah, you can pretty much find me on all the social medias if you just search my name and always look for the profile picture of a race car in it, because that'll be me.
There it is.
Yeah. It's not some weird picture of something else. It always will have a photo of my face or a race car, one of the two.
Right
Sweet.
on.
Yep.
And Chris, how they get a hold of us?
Oh, there's so many different ways to get a hold of us. You can email us, chris@wheelingwineandwhiskey.com, jason@wheelingwineandwhiskey.com. You have the IG, which is at Wheeling Wine and Whiskey. You can also, well, I'm not even going to mention that right now. You can also go to our website, wheelingwineandwhiskey.com, where you can see all of our past episodes and links to our merch. And today we are recording, it's summer, actually fall.
First day of fall.
First day of fall, which means we're ramping up for the holidays. And I always like to make the announcement because we have some killer merch now. Make sure you log into our website, go to the merch link, and you can buy gifts for your family and friends and represent on the trail and wherever you happen to be out and about with a hoodie, a shirt, a hat, a sticker, whatever. And those are on our merch website.
Right on. Right on. All right, Justin, thank you for
thank you guys
for the recount there, desert to the Vegas to Reno desert race, and man, from rolling your car and building a new one to here we are.
Yeah, it's been an adventure, and I appreciate you guys following along through all the years that we've been doing this. So
it's fun to do. It's absolutely fun to do.
Absolutely, man. All right, Chris, with that,
we're out.